Well, to this point, we've tried to make sure that you're getting very familiar with the Windows version 8 interfaces, the desktop and the start menu. But really, there's a lot more that we want to look at in making this easier for us to do, and that is managing your files and your folders. And so what we're going to do is take a look at that through the use of File Explorer. File Explorer is the one that looks like multiple folders kind of stacked together. It's one of our quick launch applications. So I'm going to open that up, and it opens up into the libraries option. The libraries are really locations. They do represent actual folder locations, but locations that are default storage areas for every logged in user. That means every user that it runs on this Windows 8 machine would have their own documents, pictures, music, and videos library that should not be shared, or unless you want them to be, with anybody else who logs in. And so now that we're here anyway, what we're going to do is take a look at the Home tab. See, this is where the tabs come in. And as I click on each of these tabs, you'll notice that I have a different ribbon that comes in. Originally, we were on the default where we really didn't have any of these. I have a Share tab as well and a View tab as well. And you'll get more and more familiar with these and what happens as you're working with these. All right, and the file is not really a ribbon per se, as more of a drop-down of some frequent options. Now, when I do click on Home, some of the things that you're going to use quite often would be the options to perhaps copy or paste, whether it's a whole folder or just a file. And that's your way of being able to literally take a copy of a file and put it in a different location with the paste. Now, if you instead of copied the file did a cut, the cut would actually be deleting the file from its current location, but they're still in what we call the clipboard, so you could paste it in a new location. So you aren't making a copy of the original, you're actually taking the original. And we have some move options to be able to move selected items to a different location that you browse to or copy to if you like doing that better than the copy and paste. So there's a number of, and like I said, there's a lot of options that we can work with. If I go to my Documents folder, click on that. Now that I'm in my Documents folder, you see that I have no files. If I go to my Home, I do have some of these items in the ribbon that are not grayed out. The grayed out are ones that I cannot click on because there's no function, anything that I can do. The new item is something I could do. And what I'll do is just kind of show you that very quickly. If I click on New Item, it says, well, what do you want to make? And I could make basically a new text document. Or if I wanted to, as you see here, a new Microsoft Word. I'm going to start off with just a new text document very quickly. And I'm going to call this Tense. And once I create it, there's nothing in it. And so, but if I go to the Home button, you notice that now I have a copy option, or a cut option, or a move this file to. Of course, it's kind of a boring. And then I just clicked back down in the content view here to close that ribbon down. So if I double-click Tense, it does open a notepad. And I'll just make this very easy, used primarily, for camping. But don't expect them to keep the bears out. All right, so now that I've added some things, hey, notice even each application has its own set of tabs here. What I'll do is I'll save, click on File, then Save my changes, and I will use this. And notice I have two applications open. I have the File Explorer and this one called Notepad open. And the one with the colored bars, the one that is currently active. The one in the background is grayed out so that you're not confusing, hopefully, which set of buttons you're using close on, rather than this one over here. So I'm going to close that one now that I've made some changes to it. All right, so you'll notice here on the side that we have these little things called carets. And what that basically is telling you is letting you know that there are sub-menu items underneath there. So as an example here, I expanded this one next to Computer, and it shows me the C drive. The C drive is considered our hard drive. And if I click on that, you can see the buildup of the actual folders, the same ones that are showing down at the bottom half. But the difference here is that this will also show me any files. And obviously, if I go to something like Program Files and expand that out, you can see there's a number of different types of files here. If I were to, let's say, go to Microsoft Office, and I could double-click these and maybe go to Office 15, just continue to look at this structure. And so you can kind of see the structure as it's being set up here through these carets and how you're able to navigate. Now, having said that, most of what you're going to work in is in the Documents folder. And like I said, the difference between seeing, and there are a couple of anyway, folders, My Documents here, which is where we actually were, and any public documents that might be on this computer, ones that are shareable to everybody. But like I said, the big difference is that any of the individual files are actually shown here in the Content view. Now, when we come up to some of the menus, such as File, again, it kind of depends on, as far as what is not grayed out, on what it is that I have currently selected. You might also notice that these also have carets. The value of some of these carets is that as I click on them, or move my mouse over them, basically, you're seeing over here the other options of what I have available with each of these. So again, the carets usually mean that there's more content, or in this case, other menus within the main menu option here. And again, that's a process of just getting kind of familiar with these tabs. Again, with the Home tabs, you'll notice I have little carets. Those carets are showing me, again, other options, such as in this case, if I wanted to move that particular file to my desktop or to downloads or somewhere else, that it's showing me the advantage of being able to choose other actions underneath what this main action icon was designed to show me. And like I said, it all really does depend on what you have selected on as far as which options are available to you. Now, one of the other options that I mentioned was the libraries. The libraries were designed to be a place where you can do work with something like searching for particular files or types of files or content within a file. As an example, by selecting the libraries, and if I typed in tent and hit enter, it would search for within my libraries for that particular value. I'm not going to actually try to produce the search right at the moment. It does show you that it has that definite one that it had before. But the goal is to say that that's the basics of where Windows is expecting to see all of your particular files and folders so that you can perform those types of searches and to be able to look at your actual documents. Now, one of the things that I would like to do is go back to my documents where I do have tents and actually maybe add some structure. So one of the options I have is, again, I can go to File and look at some of the options, but I didn't necessarily see anything that shows me, oh, I want to make a new folder. So that's where you get used to knowing what your options are. When I come to the Home, that's where you basically are going to create new items. And so here I can say, create new folder. And I'm going to create one here, and I'll just call it Camping. And so now I have a new folder. And if I go back to my documents here and click on this, again, as I expand this and expand my documents, you can see that the camping folder shows up as a subfolder. And that's, again, helping me create some logic in how I want to be able to manage my files. Now, having said that, and talking about some of these other options under the Home button, when I click on Tents, I can click on Home. I can click on Copy that file. And now if I double-click to open up Camping and go to my Home, click on Paste, you'll see my Tents file show up there. It's the same file. It's just a copy of the original. So that's in the Camping, right, the Camping folder. If I go to My Documents, I still have the Tents file here because all I did was a copy and paste. Now, another option that I had, and what I'm going to show you here, is going back into my Camping folder. I'm going to do the Jump menu. Look, I'm going to right-click on Tents. The Jump menu has many of the same options, including Copy, and if it was something that would apply, Paste as well. I'm going to delete this one, though. I'm going to delete the Tents file out of Camping. I'm going to go back to My Documents, click on Tents, and again, show you the option if I click on Home to the Copy to. Now the copy to does not show me my folder on camping because that's not a popular location that we'd always use. But I do have choose location. And from choose location, what do I have here? I have my libraries, my documents, the My Documents folder, and camping, using those carets again. And then from there I can click on copy. Now that I've done that, if I come back to camping, you see that file's still there. By the way, you might have noticed in the recycle bin that it now looks like it has wadded up pieces of paper in it from that clear picture it was before. But that's something we can look at again a little bit later. Now, what I'm going to do, it looks like you're probably thinking I'm crazy. I'm going to repeat this last exercise, and I'm going to right-click and delete that tense file again. And what we're going to do is talk about some other options of how to do the copy and paste. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this tense, and I already told you. Now, again, I moved back up to the My Documents. If I go to the camping folder, there's no tense here. Go back to the My Documents and click on tense. And so you've already seen a couple of ways to do copy and paste. I showed you if I did a right click that the right click would give me the ability to copy. You know, there's some other thing that you should know. You can use what we call keyboard shortcuts or hotkeys. If you hold, and unfortunately you can't see me do this, but just take my word for it. If I hold the control button down and hit the letter C, that's a shortcut hotkey for copy. Control C. Now if I go to the camping folder again and click in the empty area, hold the control button down and hit the letter V, that's V is for paste. I know it doesn't make sense to think of that, but it's right next to the C. So C for copy at least makes sense. The V is next to the C. And by the way, cut, which is, as I said, would actually move the file, is a Control X. At least that kind of sounds like a cut. And those are hotkeys. So there's many ways in Windows to be able to accomplish the same thing. And trying to give you all of this information is in an attempt to make it easy for you to be able to work with everything. All right, so let me again delete this file. I've deleted tense too many times. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to do what's called minimize the window, right? Because I could have maximized it, made it full screen. That's the restore button that brings it back to where it was. I'm going to minimize this window so it's just not in my way, but notice that it's down here on my taskbar. In fact, it looks a little different than it did before because it has an open application, and if I had multiple of these open, you would actually see those other options. In fact, just by leaving my mouse on it long enough, it kind of shows me the application. What I'm going to do is double-click the recycle bin to open it up and look at all those tense I've deleted. All right, so again, that's where your files go when you delete them. And on any one of these, you can go to the File option, and you can start working again with some of the same options that we just saw. I can go to the Home option. So what do I have available to me when I do this? If I go to the Home, you'll notice a lot of these things are, at least I still have the copy and paste, the move tos, and some other things that I have available to me. But one of the things you can do is, and I like just people getting used to this jump menu, is to right-click, see the options, the most common ones. If I do a delete here from the recycle bin, this is a permanently deleting the file. It's telling me that I'll never be able to restore it. I'm going to say go ahead and yes, that's fine. If I right-click it and go and choose the restore option, what it did, you notice this one was actually the one that was over here. It just kind of moved in. I just hopefully put that file back to where it was deleted from. All right, so let's close this recycle bin. Let's return back to our tense, and let's go to the camping folder. Oh, that is the camping folder. And there it is, the tenses are back, the one that I had deleted. If I go to the My Documents, it still has the one I've never deleted. Well, I hope that this has given you some help at knowing how to get around File Explorer and how to do copy and paste, how to use some of the different tabs to see some of the different ribbons that show up. And, again, we have share. We saw a share widget before, where it just means that you could share this file through an email or make a copy of it to a disk if you want to. We haven't really had the chance to show you all, with not having a lot of files set up, some of the view options. But, again, we'll continue to help you get better and better with knowing how to navigate. Most of the default options, especially for things like viewing, are set up by kind of a best practice from Microsoft to the most popular options that are available.